Hey guys, Rebel Engine 95, recording live for Yubel County Prison Cell. Today we're doing a fight that I came up with like 6 hours ago. The fight is Yubel from Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, Yubel the character, versus Salem from Ruby. Um, I've had opinions that I've shared about Ruby for a long time. I've mentioned that that I am a Yu-Gi-Oh! Player. I've been playing since I was a kid, on and off, and but I do nowadays I do still pay attention to it, and I do still do follow it. And I was also a TO for several years. So, but the biggest problem with Yu-Gi-Oh as a series in Death Battle has been that you're either getting a duelist character that has the ability to make the monsters real, because why else would they be in a death battle? Or you have a monster. And there's never really been a gauge for characters, because in the game monsters have a set power level, but how that power level is approached in real world, is never really touched upon. So Yubel is one of those rare cases where we can actually ascertain at least some scope of her ability. Um, and also this is I think the only other Yu-Gi-Oh fight I've done was what? Um, it was Akiza versus Kallen, I think. So yeah, that works. All right, this is a good revisiting of the series. Hell with doing Pokemon fights as refreshers. I should do, or Ruby fights with refreshers. I should do Yu-Gi-Oh fights with refreshers. Anyway, um, getting into it. So Yubel, the character, is a was a child in an ancient human civilization, and the king of that civilization was known as the Supreme King. Now, the role of the Supreme King was to utilize a power known as the Gentle Darkness, which was meant to be the opposite to the Light of Destruction. More backstory: when the Yu-Gi-Oh universe, was created, two forces were utilized, and that was the Light of Destruction and the Gentle Darkness, or the Darkness of Justice, depending on how you look at it, depending on which translation you use. And the Light of Destruction is essentially there to destroy. It's there to, eradicate all and leave nothing but light, right? And the Gentle Darkness filling in the cracks of the universe is what allowed for life to flourish. So yeah, plot twist: the light is bad and the dark is good. The Supreme King is supposed to be the individual who holds the Gentle Darkness, which is supposed to oppose the Light of Destruction and allow, save the world, right? Save all life in the universe. Yubel accepted the role of being the protector of the Supreme King and all of his incarnations. So Yubel was turned into a card, essentially. Was turned into like a monster being, and then turned into a card. Given presumably a fraction of the power of the Gentle Darkness, because otherwise how would? But Yubel was turned into a spirit of darkness. So yeah, I guess in some regard would be given the power of some amount of the power of the Gentle Darkness. So for however much time had passed, Yubel was made into a card and was eventually given to one Jaden Yuki as a child. And Jaden, turns out, when dueling with Yubel, people were actually getting hurt, and Jaden thought that, as a kid, that card was, evil. So it ended up getting launched into space by Kaiba Corp. Yeah, I know, Yu-Gi-Oh! Has a really deep lore for some reason. Was ended up being launched into space by Kaiba Corp alongside Jaden's hand-drawn cards that he had submitted. Basically to take the evil, put it into space. Well, after being trapped in space in a satellite, eventually, Yubel encountered the Light of Destruction and went completely insane. Damn it, I was trying to avoid this. Yubel technically has non-binary pronouns. If I address Yubel as she, it's because in the English dub, they localized Yubel to a she, so canonically, I guess she's a female, but whatever. Yubel wasn't destroyed because they're a creature of darkness and therefore, have the power to oppose the Light of Destruction, but they ended up going insane. So eventually the satellite crashes back into Earth and right? All right. Now, as far as Yubel's actual abilities go, it involves darkness, prolifically enough. More so the darkness inside people's hearts. Yubel is capable of possessing somebody using the darkness inside their own heart and basically controlling their mind. And this is significant because Yubel not only feeds off of the darkness inside somebody, but also feeds off of conflict, which is why Yubel ends up sending people to duel on their behalf so that, they can feed off the conflict. Among some of these powers are not only, presumably incredible strength. We don't see Yubel physically demonstrate too much strength, but we do see Yubel, you do see their powers portrayed a lot. But things like being able to teleport through dimensions, like when Yubel teleported all of Duel Academy Island to a different dimension, the Duel Monster Spirit Realm, or the ability to make cards and their effects become real during a duel, or their ability to alter people's memories and, control their minds and whatnot. All of these things are strengthened with the darkness inside somebody, the darkness inside somebody's heart. And Yubel is also very difficult to get rid of because before merging souls with Jaden and after the satellite that they were in crashed back into Earth, they had actually survived as just a single piece of themselves and were still capable of possessing... Hell, they're actually capable of possessing people while in the form of a card. But they were capable of possessing individuals and having them go out and fight on their behalf and then, regrowing because of that. So you could say that there's a healing factor involved. The more violence there is going on around her and, around them, and the more darkness the more darkness that a person that they've possessed has, the stronger they become. So yeah, ultimately, if it weren't for Jaden kind of, refusing with her, with them and making them, forget the light, lose the Light of Destruction, which was actually embedded into them. So not only is Yubel capable of resisting this, primordial universe-destroying threat, Yubel also had that power at her disposal for a time. So yeah, it's kind of crazy. Power like this that let Yubel control, overpower and control the sacred beasts, who were also supposed to be world-ending threats. Things like possessing some of the top duelists, like Jesse Anderson and not Marcel Bonaparte. What was his name? The other Bonaparte kid. I don't know. But yeah, like Yubel's just like that. I don't know. Also, coincidentally enough, Yubel, at the current time of this recording this video, the Yubel archetype actually won Worlds this year at Yu-Gi-Oh! And is currently the best deck of this format as of the time of recording. So, yeah, go figure. On to Salem. Salem is also a bit of a tricky backstory. So Salem is from the, I guess, original or most ancient race of humans on Remnant. The humans who were originally capable of magic. And Salem, she ended up, I can say she this time, she ended up spending pretty much her entire life locked in a tower until a being known as Ozma saved her. Ozma then ended up dying, and Salem went to the gods of Remnant, the brothers, and pleaded for his life. They refused. She tricked one of them, and they cursed her with eternal life. And by doing so, like, Salem tried to kill herself several times, and it didn't work. She was cursed to live eternally in this world that she, in this world where she no longer had purpose and where Ozma wouldn't love her. Because she betrayed the brothers and all that, right? Now, she eventually then led the humans to rebelling against the brothers, which is why they took away the magic from Remnant. So her and Ozma, in whichever incarnation he was in, were the only humans left capable of using magic. And then when they had children after rediscovering each other, after they were both immortal, Ozma would use part of his magic to imbue onto his children, the maidens, leaving Salem the most powerful magical being left on Remnant, whose powers would then be unmatched. Some of these powers include manipulation over just nature, so like the attributes, the weather, things like that. And after taking a swim in the Grim pools in the dark side of the world, she later developed some sort of Grim powers, which allow her to manipulate Grim. Grim are apparently a naturally occurring phenomenon. They are not, I always thought they were like her creations. She can modify them and like make her own, but Grim are like prehistoric in creation. They are like a natural part of the Ruby world, so she can't just like make them exist, though she does kind of like the black liquid that they spawn from. She is also part of her, so she's able to like kind of store them in a sense, or store their characteristics. So she basically has all the powers of a Grim at her disposal. Any individual power that a Grim might have, she has at her disposal. And this also gives her ability to like, she can like summon shadow hands and stuff, which is really cool. Yeah, so her immortality is pretty much the main thing that we're focusing on. Though her magic is pretty cool as well. Her immortality is, I mean, it's graphic, but it is to be considered absolute. I mean, she has been essentially, she was hit by a blast of magical energy that Ozpin had stored up for centuries that was akin to basically like a nuclear blast, right? Like a nuke meant to take out like a city. And she was reduced to like a puddle of liquid, and her body physically pulled itself together very graphically, and she was fine like a couple hours later. Hazel even saying no matter how many times he killed her, no matter how like brutally he killed her, she kept coming back, and the most she would stay dead were a couple of hours, right? So she's pretty much I mean, I don't want to say indestructible, but she's not killable. Even the great I think that was Jin, right? Because the other one was, I forget what the builder's name was, but Jin was the answering one. Even the great Jin, who was supposed to be the one who knew all of the answers, who knew any answer given from anyone, who could know the answer to any question, right? When asked, how do I kill, when Ozpin asks her, how do I kill Salem? Her answer was, you can't. So she is absolutely unkillable. Now let's talk about which one of these characters kills each other. So, both these characters do share a lot of similarities. They both are pretty much imbued with the darkness of their own universe. They are, they were both trapped and isolated, and pretty much were driven to insanity. They have a lot of story differences, similarities is what I'm saying. Yeah, and really, in some regard or another, they both are also immortal. Because Yubel doesn't really have a physical body. They do. Yubel's physical body is like kind of made of energy. It's actually been made into a card called Phantom of Yubel, which is one of the reasons why the Deck 1 Worlds is here. But so Yubel's body, Yubel can have a body made up of physical energy, but usually Yubel goes around possessing, the hearts of others. But the body that we did know her to have at some point did survive being crashed, from a satellite into Earth. It survived as one individual part that had to be regrown due to conflict, but still, like, it survived. So we don't really, and even if it hadn't, like I said, Yubel's real essence is like spiritual, Yubel is a spirit of darkness, not a physical being of darkness. So on one hand, you've got somebody who is truly physically unkillable, and then someone who doesn't really exist physically, so can't really be killed. So how do we rectify these? Well, I think this all comes down to Yubel's ability to possess others and also empower themselves based off of the darkness in someone's heart. And wow, does Salem have a lot of darkness in her heart? I mean, even if we look at the other aspects of things, like making Grims and whatnot, Yubel can pretty much match that, because Yubel has been shown to be able to fuse monsters and humans together. So that's kind of crazy to think about. We've even seen, like, I mean, again, Yu-Gi-Oh! Is a weird show when it comes to lore. So, though Yubel would not be able to physically kill Salem, Yubel is the only one who has a means of indefinitely pacifying Salem, which is controlling her mind, right? And in doing so, um, you know, feeding off of the power, Yubel would only become more powerful the longer that this fight happened. So I think that's kind of like the only outcome that can really happen, because no matter what Salem is able to make happen, she also does not have a means by which to kill Yubel. So this is kind of like a non-fight, simply because, like, in a traditional death battle setting, neither of these characters are really capable of beating the other. So you do kind of have to say, oh, well, it's which one of them has any means of victory. So, I mean, and also these are very obscure. Well, Salem's like the primary villain of Ruby, and you have to really you'd have to have seen GX and like liked it to really know who Yubel is. So it's kind of, but still, this just felt fun to me, and this felt like really cool to do. So yeah, but anyway, I'm gonna say that Yubel wins it, just like it did Worlds this year. Anyway, Verbal Engine 95. See ya.